U.S. President Joe Biden and top advisors warn Israel of growing anger as the ally advances on the ground in the Gaza Strip without considering the safety of civilians. As revealed by CNN, Mr. Biden and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had close discussions with Israeli officials, warning that the decline in support would lead to negative consequences for the goal of eliminating Israel. Hamas proposed by the Israeli army. Behind the scenes, U.S. officials believe that Israel does not have much time left to carry out a ground attack until the wave of anger increases to its peak. By then, the U.S. cannot maintain its current support and Israel will likely have to cease fire with Hamas. U.S. officials say that scenario is coming very close. Some of Mr. Biden's advisors believe that Israel only has a few weeks to implement its military goals, not months,
Mr. Prime Minister,
according to CNN.
Look,
Currently,
folks,
there are no signs that Israel's ground offensive is slowing down.
Reason. I want the people of Israel.
On November 2nd, the Israeli army declared a complete siege of the Gaza Strip and is continuing to further expand military operations. CNN correspondent reported that Israeli fighter jets illuminate the night sky in the northern Gaza Strip with continuous bombing. What makes Mr. Biden and his advisors most unhappy is Israel's bombing of a refugee camp in the northern Gaza Strip this week, killing dozens of people.
Including 31
The president
Americans.
is not comfortable with that, a source familiar with the matter told CNN. The problem with Israel is that criticism is getting louder and louder, not just from countries that have tensions with Israel, but also from its closest allies, the U.S. official said. Currently, Mr. Biden has not drawn a red line with Israel, U.S. officials admitted. The White House also avoided mentioning the ceasefire issue. But Mr. Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that images of civilians buried in rubble after the airstrike could hinder the Israeli military's advance, a U.S. official revealed. In a closed-door conversation with Mr. Netanyahu, Mr. Biden also warned that Israel would face a harsh reaction from the international community if the ally did not find a way to minimize civilian casualties and promote humanitarian assistance. The problem is also not limited to the Gaza Strip, but also to the escalating trend of violence against civilians in the West Bank. Washington asked its allies not to destroy communication and internet infrastructure in the Gaza Strip, allowing clean water and fuel to be regularly supplied to Gaza. The Israeli side argued that fuel transported into Gaza was seized by Hamas and not used for humanitarian purposes. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to return to Israel on November 3rd. Mr. Blinken said the topic the U.S. wants to discuss with its allies is concrete steps to minimize civilian casualties in Gaza. I don't want to get into the details of the issue, but it is one of our priorities, Mr. Blinken said as he boarded the plane. We were heartbroken to see Gaza's children being pulled from the rubble. This is an issue we will have to address, Blinken added. Some Democratic lawmakers called on Israel to reconsider its strategy. It is time for Israel to recognize that its current strategy only leads to massive civilian casualties without completely eliminating Hamas. I urge Israel to immediately reconsider its approach, said Senator Chris Murphy. Issued a statement on November 2nd.